It says that we are live right now. This is Coy at Coys Sports Corner with special guest, first time on the show, Nebraska, University of Nebraska alum. Yes, he played collegiately at a high level. The one and only Big Dog, Todd Peterson. He is the father, just for full disclosure, he is the father of my nephew. So I just wanted to say, welcome to the show, Todd. He has
I appreciate that, Corey.
you're welcome. He has a wide range of knowledge. When he's talking, when I'm at a family function with this guy, I'm listening. Okay, that's how much
All
I
right.
respect his knowledge when it comes to the sports world. Okay, now we are discussing today, first week of the NFL season,
Mm-hmm.
and just what did you think of the first week? I mean, the week one. What did you think of it? Just before we break down the games, what did you think of it, Todd?
The overall thoughts of week one is right now you can't determine who's going to the Super Bowl. You had some great football that was played Thursday, Friday, Sunday, all day Sunday. You can't determine who's going to the football after you can't determine who's going to the Super Bowl after week one. Right now it's up in the air. You got some great football that was played over 3 days in the NFL. And hopefully it continues tomorrow. But even now on a Sunday night game, that's a great football game. So we're gonna see what this season determines and see what unfolds as the season goes on.
Okay. And speaking of uh, a good season and good games, and what a hell of a game that Bears Titans game. That's
Man,
where I want to first jump in at because
man.
you obviously are part of the football pool
Uh-huh.
that I want. And I could not believe I was already about to shoot in for Chicago being red. And
Hmm.
then all of a sudden, because they were down 17 to
You're
0.
right. You're right.
And then all of a sudden, they're up 24 to 17 next time I look. Will
But
Levis is not all what he's cracked up to be. I just want to say this. He's not what all he's
well,
cracked up to be. Or maybe his line is not what all was cracked up to be. Maybe. I'll give him that. Maybe. Because he had some
mhm.
flashes last year. But man, some bad passes, some just ill-advised passes. If I'm being nice. So what did you think about the Bears comeback behind victory today?
Well, first of all, man, I don't know if you can judge Will Levis's performance off the offensive line because look at what Tony Pollard did today for Tennessee.
You're right.
Look at what Tony Pollard did. So you can't judge the performance of Will Levis off of the offensive line of the Tennessee Titans because Tony Pollard had a great day. Now, however, you got to ask yourself: is this a team of the Bears of the old, with a quarterback that's average, but their defense is performing above average? Because all the points that they had coming back in this game, where did they come from?
Talk
Where
about
did they
it.
come from? Defensive side of the ball. Caleb Williams, the number one overall pick. What did he show us? Did he show us that he can win a game on his own?
14 of 29, 93 yards.
14 of 29, 93 yards. Can he win a game on his own? Now, the one
Mm,
thing that the Bears have done is the Bears have surrounded this kid to where he cannot lose.
yeah.
If he loses, he's lost the game himself. It's not because of the defense. It's not because of the offensive line. It's not because of the running back. It's not because of the weapons around him.
You ain't kidding.
But repeat his
Man.
numbers again.
14 of 29, which is under 50% completion percentage,
14 of
and
29.
93 yards, which is under 100 yards passing, obviously.
29 passing attempts,
Mm,
and he's under 200 yards.
under 100.
Under 100.
Yeah.
So what is that telling us about Caleb Williams? One thing that I tell people, no matter what, I tell people where I tell people, the game never changes. It's the speed of the game. And now this game is moving so fast for him in the NFL compared to when he was at USC. He has to catch up to the speed of the game. Do I think he's going to catch up to it? Yeah, he'll catch up to it. He's a smart kid. He's a smart kid. But right now, to start the season off, yeah, he didn't expect that speed. He didn't expect that
Um,
speed.
I, before we move on to the next, next game that we're going to analyze or whatnot, I got to be honest with you. I don't think he will. I
You
think
don't think
he's
he
going to
will?
get a long leash. No, I don't. Unfortunately, I don't. I don't think he has the. He does not have, to me, the Patrick Mahomes quality. Uh,
Yeah, but
when
Coy,
Patrick Mahomes
you got to
played,
understand when we're comparing him to Patrick Mahomes.
I'm talking about coming out of college. I'm talking about as a rookie. That's
Okay,
what I'm
okay.
talking about. I'm not talking about Pat Mahomes now. It's
Hmm.
fine. It's easy to be able to say the established Pat Mahomes that has won 3 Super Bowls in the last
Hmm.
two. It's easy to say, well, wow, how could you dare compare him to Patrick Mahomes? What I
Hmm.
mean by that, Patrick Mahomes came out of Texas Tech. He was
Hmm.
not regarded as a high first round overall pick coming out of college. Let's just be honest, okay?
Hmm.
But what did he do? In his first games at the end of the season, when he first got a start, before he started his first full season, you could see the shades of greatness, in my opinion. You could see that.
Yeah,
He
yeah. But
did.
remember, Coy, he sat all season long behind Alex Smith. He didn't start until the 17th game of the season. Caleb Williams doesn't have that luxury. He's the best
Can I?
quarterback on. He's the best quarterback on the Bears roster.
Yes, he is. But he can. Am I wrong to say this? Because I know we're jumping the gun with the Texans, but C.J. Stroud started as a rookie, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yes, he
Yes,
did.
okay, okay. I just want to make sure this. He started from game one. And was he the number one overall pick last year?
No, he wasn't.
He was not.
No,
Bryce
he
Young
wasn't.
was, right?
Bryce Young
Right,
was.
right. And Bryce Young started from the first game of the season as well, correct?
Yes, he did.
Okay. So if I'm comparing the last two number one overall picks and the last year's number two or number three overall pick in CJ
Hmm.
Stroud, or at least the second quarterback that was taken in the
Hmm.
in the draft. I mean, I don't see the same. I don't see the same tangibles to where CJ Stroud was at least. CJ Stroud made you thought that he had uh, something there. He
Yeah,
did. And then it
yeah,
grew. He had a rough game against the Ravens, but for the most part last year, it grew and grew and it grew, and he got a playoff victory.
yeah.
Okay. I'm just saying, like, seeing all of that, and he was rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year, if I'm not mistaken.
You're
His
right.
teammate was defensive rookie of the year on the D line.
You're
But
right.
and the coach should have been coach of the year, if you ask me, my opinion. But obviously, they couldn't give the one team three of those awards like that.
Hmm.
But Caleb Williams didn't show none of that to me. Like, he had any of that. You got DJ Moore out
Hmm.
there. You got Keenan Allen from the Chargers out
Hmm.
there. These are not scrubs. Okay,
Hmm.
these are both number one receivers, if I have to say so myself. You got a
I
great
agree.
slot receiver in I think it's number 11. I can't remember the slot receiver, but you got a very speedy slot receiver. So you
Hmm.
got some weapons. You got a good running back in the backfield. You got some decent weapons, and to not even get 100 yards,
Yeah,
that's rough.
but boy, you got to judge greatness on its own level. Did you expect? I'm gonna ask you that one question. Did you expect C.J. Stroud to be as good as he was last season?
How high? I'll be honest with you. How high he was taken,
Hmm.
I did have a level of expectation. How high he was taken. When the quarterbacks are in the first round, especially
Hmm.
in the top 10, when you
Hmm.
when you're selected in the top 10, that lets me know that your team that drafted you believed in you enough for you to be the guy eventually. That's
Okay.
what that lets me know
So
if you're drafted in the top 10.
did he exceed your expectation?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a
Yeah.
one in every 10 years talent. Because you take every other quarterback that was drafted in the first round last year, other than C.J. Stroud, who else performed like that? Even the number one overall pick, who's still
Oh,
struggling as of today's game.
whew. First pass was a pick of the game
Exactly.
today. First
Exactly.
pass.
So C.J. Stroud is a one in every 10 years talent. And he wasn't even
Okay.
taken number one overall last year.
But moving on from that, will agree or disagree. I just don't believe Caleb Williams. I,
Ah,
I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I put it like
time,
this. I don't
only
pray for
time will
anybody's
tell.
downfall. Go ahead.
Only time will tell. Only time will tell.
Yeah, fair point. Speaking of time, looks like the Bengals ran out of time today. They were trying to come back, and then the
Oh,
Patriots stopped it. I
oh.
I
Man,
did
the
not
Bengals
see
got a
Jared
mess together.
Mayo. I just
The
want to say
Bengals,
this. I did not see Jared Mayo getting his first victory today. I did not see the Patriots going on the road and beating Joe Burrow, even if Jamar Chase was not 100%. I did not see that happening. What
the,
is your take on this game right here?
the crazy part about it is, man, I'm sitting at a softball game yesterday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, where it's 100 and plus degrees outside, talking to my son. He actually told me, Dad, I think Cincinnati's gonna lose. Now, when he told me
Wow.
that, and I knew that Jamar Chase was actually gonna play, never in a million years would I would think they have lost to the New England Patriots. Never in a million years would I think that. Now, when it came down to the game, Jared Mayo did the right thing. He's a coach. He is a coach. This man is not somebody that just came up under Bill Belichick's umbrella that is growing. This man is a coach because he out coached the
Zach
coach.
Taylor. Yes, he
He
did.
out
Yeah.
coached Zach Taylor. That's all. That all came down to coaching. Because no matter if Jamar Chase had never practiced that off, he come back in for game one of week one. Him and Joe Burrow have had 2 seasons together,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
so
Yeah.
that didn't matter. But in the entire game, T. Higgins didn't have a catch.
Oh wow, I missed that. Oh
T. Higgins
wow.
T. Higgins didn't have a catch. So comparing it to the Colorado Nebraska game Saturday
Oh.
night, are you just
Oh.
going? Are you just looking for one person? Or are you really using the talent that you have on the field? Because for T. Higgins to only have one catch, you got to think Jamar Chase is always going to be the lockdown corner and a safety over the top.
Oh, he's gonna get double, sometimes even triple coverage if we're being honest. I
Exactly. So
mean,
T. Higgins,
if they can get three people on Jamar Chase and make sure he is shut out of the game, they're gonna do it. So naturally, you're gonna leave T. Higgins at least for a couple of opportunities one on one with at
T.
least the
Higgins,
second best corner.
T. Higgins had to be 1-on-1 all day long.
Wow, in
So
one catch.
as Zach Taylor odds, are you trying to come? Are you just trying to cater to one wide receiver when you got a group of talent that you can use? You can really spread the field and go up and down the field. But don't get me wrong, the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line is horrible.
Oh, yes, it is. Oh, I don't know what. It's like you got a franchise quarterback.
Yeah,
Literally, everybody knows you got a franchise great quarterback and an all NFL wide receiver out there, and
who
really
get
two with T Higgins,
who
really
gets
two.
who gets 2.5 seconds to release the ball because your offensive line is so horrible.
Uh,
You got to give them
that
at least 4 seconds. Two and
at
a half
least.
seconds. 2.5 seconds. You can never go downfield in 2.5 seconds. You got to dink and dunk.
Yeah,
And like you said, he had less than 100 yards passing today.
yeah.
I think he ended up with
Had less than
193.
100. Caleb Williams had less than 100.
Okay, but I think Joe Burrow ended with
He had less than
193.
100 as well.
I think he ended with 193.
Oh man, with Jamar Chase and T Higgins.
Exactly.
Whew.
But when you only have 2.5 seconds to throw the ball, this is the NFL, babe. You need at least 4 seconds to make it count. Even on a
Yeah.
screen pass.
Yeah.
Even on a screen pass,
Yes.
you need 4 seconds.
Man, uh, I don't know. Let's see what happens with that Patriot season. See if they'll continue to win in ways, and let's see if the Bengals will, straighten out
Yeah.
the early season kinks, so to speak.
Man,
But
the Bengals got an uphill battle because they go to Arrowhead next week.
ooh,
They go to
Ooh.
Arrowhead next week, so the Bengals got an uphill battle.
Well, I
So
won't
we're
say
gonna
who
see
my
how
money's
everything
on in
turns
that
out after
game,
next week.
but I won't say who my money's on in that game, but
No, not yet, not yet. I'll wait till Saturday night to make my pick.
all right. Speaking of upsets and near upsets, I should say, the Dolphins. They were
Oh,
favored to beat the Jaguars today, and they were
man,
down the vast majority of the game. It took a 52, I believe, 52-yard field goal at the
yeah,
end of the game to
yeah,
win the game because
yeah,
it was tied. And you got Tyreek Hill on the outside. You got OBJ on the outside. You got Jalen Waddle on the
yeah,
outside. And you got a host of other speedy receivers that I did not just mention.
yes.
Okay.
But
And
remember,
counting the running backs you have that are very, very fast.
yeah,
So it was
remember
kind of,
OBJ doesn't come back until week 4
oh,
at least
excuse
week
me. I'm
4.
sorry.
So he didn't
I
play at
should have
all
known he
today.
was injured. I should have knew he was
However,
out.
though, Coy, when you're the Miami Dolphins, you just got to keep it within the touchdown range. Because
Yeah.
look what happened when they were within a touchdown range. It takes one play. One play. Tyreek Hill goes for 80 yards. One play.
You got Reek.
One play. And you tie the game. One play, 80 yards. You tie the game.
Wow.
When you
Wow.
got
I
one of the
think that,
when you got one of the fastest men in football, you just got to stay within 7. And if
yeah.
you stay within 7, you always got a chance.
Oh, yeah.
You
Because
always got a chance
he can hit a home run each play.
at any given
He
time.
he has the ability to catch the ball and make one or two people miss and
Yeah.
outrun the entire rest of the defense.
Coy,
Literally, that's
on
it.
that play, he didn't make anybody miss. He just outran everybody for 80 yards.
I played football, and when a wide receiver or a tight end just outrun you, just leave you in the dust like
Man,
that, and leave the rest of your
man,
teammates in the dust like that, it do
man,
something to you psychologically. Okay,
man.
it does something to you.
And I think that's what Jacksonville realized they lost the game. And that's when they realized they lost the game. Because you got one player on the opposite side that can do that at any given time. Now, before that play, he had a subpar game. He was 3 receptions for 33 yards. But he had that one catch for 80 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's a special, like we were talking about CJ Stroud. That's a once in every 10 years talent. You don't
Yeah.
get talent like that every day.
Generational. We call those
Generational talent.
generational
There you
talents.
go. Generational talent. That talent doesn't come by
Absolutely.
every day.
No. Oh, absolutely not. You ain't gonna get them in the draft every year.
Oh,
Sorry.
no.
Sorry. I don't care if you're picking number one. I
That'd be
don't care if you're
crazy.
picking number
Got to.
181. You're not gonna get those in the draft every year. It's just
And
the
you
way it goes.
and you remember where Tyreek Hill got drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, he was like a third or fourth rounder, I believe, because of some stuff that happened. Because he had to go, he had to leave for a few colleges. He had a little not issue, so to speak, but he had to navigate through. He was gonna quit football a little bit. His mom encouraged him to keep
Yes.
going, and
Yeah.
then boom, he ends up getting drafted, and then the rest is history, as they say.
So he's a fourth round draft pick, and look what he's doing right now.
Yeah,
And not
yeah,
only that, he's not a Calvin Johnson that was 6'2",
no,
6'3", over 200
no,
pounds. Tyreek Hill is
no.
5'7" at his best.
He's my height.
195.
He's my height.
195 at his best.
Wow. So he's 10 pounds bigger than me, and he's my height.
And he's your height.
Wow.
And look what this man
Wow.
is doing in the NFL. When you got a talent like that don't come by every day.
No, no. That's
Talent
why
don't
you
come
pay.
like that every day.
That's why you pay him 20-something million every year. That's why
20, 40,
20-something million. I said
40.
20-something million.
No, but he's getting 42 mil.
Oh, okay. I thought when he signed his contract, he was getting 30 M's. He said I make 30 M's a year or something like that.
No,
But
no, man.
maybe
He's
it did
getting
go up.
42
Okay, I
mil,
can
baby.
believe that.
42 mil.
He's worth every penny, in my opinion.
Oh,
Every
definitely to
penny.
the Dolphins.
As a
Definitely
wide
to the
receiver,
Dolphins.
as well, every penny. Wide receivers don't make that kind of money usually, but
No.
him in particular, you cannot argue with the money he's making. I'm
He's the
sorry, you can't
he's the
legitimately do
perfect
that.
fit He's the perfect fit to Mike McDaniel's offense.
Yeah, yeah,
Perfect fit.
yeah.
Perfect
I
fit.
agree with that. I can definitely agree with that. Speaking of rolling, and speaking of saying that, what was that transition I was going to say? Dak Prescott. I'll just
Mm.
get right to it. Cowboys roll over the Browns on the road
Yeah, they did.
against Deshaun Watson, Amari Cooper, Jerry Judy, host of running backs that are not no scrubs.
Hmm.
So they Miles Garrett on the D end. Okay, secondary a little shaky in Cleveland. Obviously, from what I seen from the game, little like I don't know, CeeDee Lamb and Cavante Turpin, and they were kind of having the tight end. They were
Yeah.
getting some good. They were getting some good passes. They were getting some good chunk yardages. Dak was airing the ball for the most part. He was pretty good. I didn't see any
Mhm.
stretch where it's like, oh well, Dak looks like he's a little rattled. I didn't see that. I
You know
didn't
what?
see that. He led the
I've
league in
always
practice.
I've always considered Dak to be one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league since he started. Since he's been
Hmm.
a starter. I've always considered him to be a top 10 quarterback. But when it comes down to this game, man, at some point, the sports world has to start thinking the city of Cleveland is cursed. Because since Jim Brown, man, they've never been able to win anything. And even when you got everything going for yourself, you got wide receivers, you got an offensive line, you got a defense that's
Yeah.
supposed to be off the world, out of this world. You play Dallas and you really get manhandled.
Yes.
Manhandled.
That
Uh,
score did not reflect the way that game went, in
No,
my opinion. That
no.
was they dominated the Browns for the
Man,
most part of that
I was
game. They
really
dominated
surprised.
them.
I was really surprised because I actually picked Cleveland to beat the Cowboys.
Mhm.
I thought the Cowboys were coming into the game at a disarray. They just signed CeeDee Lamb. Dak just got his contract yesterday. I thought they were coming in a disarray. Their mind wasn't going to be on the game. Man, Dallas is pretty good.
They look pretty impressive, man. I gotta
Dallas
give
is pretty
credit.
good. Yes, Dallas is pretty good. Dallas is a lot better than I expected them to be. Um, are they going to be a contender down at the end? We'll see. Time will tell.
See how the Eagles go. In
Yeah,
my opinion, Dallas it determines if Dallas is going to be a contender. If the Eagles really start to get a little shaky through the season, then that really, in my opinion, makes the path very clear for the Cowboys to kind of maybe move ahead of them and move on to greener pastures and maybe have to make it to a championship game this year. I'm not going to say Super Bowls. I'm
well,
not going to say that, but
man, one thing that I can say when it comes down to football, it's a battle of the trenches. Whoever wins those trenches is going to win that football game. Dallas's offensive line played really, really well today. But what the Eagles'
yes.
offensive line did Friday night with Saquon Barkley behind them, boy, Coy, Coy,
I seen that run. Did you see that run? Did you see that
man,
Saquon Barkley, that big run? He almost turned it for a TD. I said,
man,
woo, woo,
Coy.
woo, woo, woo.
Let me tell you, man, the Eagles are dangerous with Saquon back there. With
Yeah.
26 on their team,
Yes.
with 26 on their
Yes.
team,
With
they
that
are
old
dangerous. And
line
you
they
know, like
got.
I know, yes, and you know, like I know, when it comes down to football, defense comes last. At the start of the season, offense always takes off first.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
Defense
yeah.
comes last because you got to learn how to communicate with each other and everything else. The Eagles are a
Hmm.
problem. The Eagles are going to be a problem just because of the running back that they have. The Eagles are going to be a problem.
I agree with that. Moving on to speaking of problems, what the hell is that dumpster fire going on in Carolina? I mean, you got
Oh,
new coach. The new coach last year got fired. That new
yeah,
coach got fired.
yes,
Okay. I'm sorry. That to have a guy that small and have an O line that
man,
horrible,
man.
that horrible.
That's
Are
exactly
you
what I was
kidding
going to
me?
say.
Y'all, it looks like y'all are serving this guy up on a platter for these D line to, I mean, chomp,
Yes,
chomp, chomp. Are
yes,
you kidding me? All I could
yes.
say to myself when I was watching the clips of the game was he don't look like he should be in the NFL. But the only reason why he doesn't look like, in my opinion, that he should be in the NFL is
Uh-huh.
because his O line don't even look like they should be in the NFL. His O
Man,
line don't even look like they should have even got drafted out of college. Okay,
man,
that's how bad they are.
when you got
Can't stop a
a
nosebleed. You talking about can't stop a nosebleed? I.e. Bart Scott. Much respect to Bart Scott, one of the all-time greats. I mean, geez, 47 to 10. You on the road. We know you might lose by 10 or 15. But God darn, we ain't think you're gonna lose by 30 something.
New Orleans will never score that many points in a game the rest of the season. I'm
I
gonna be the
agree.
first to say that. They
I
got a
agree.
pass on week one. They will never score that many points for the rest of the season. I don't
It's
think in the next I don't think in the next 2 weeks they'll score combined that many points that they scored today. However, Carolina, you got a 5'9" quarterback in Bryce Young at his best. You got an offensive line who you said can't stop a nosebleed. That's a pot brewing for disaster. Think about it. Think about it. Every short quarterback that we've ever seen in the NFL has been successful because they've had a superior offensive line in front of them. But you got
i.e.
a
Drew
five
Brees, i.e. Russell Wilson, Drew
exactly,
Brees, Russell Wilson. Yeah, those are only short
exactly,
quarterbacks, and they both had great offensive lines when they were successful. Both had
exactly.
great offensive
And
lines.
those guys had 5 seconds to get rid of the ball.
Yeah.
Bryce Young has less than Caleb Williams.
Yes.
So
Yes.
when you talk about 2.5 seconds, man, this guy has literally 1.5 seconds to get rid of the ball, and he can't see over the offensive line. So when the
No, he
offensive
can't.
line is being penetrated, now you got not only your 5 offensive linemen, but you got 4 defensive linemen to try to look over. That's 9 people, and you're 5'9" at your best.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I seen that, man. I watching the game, and you hate to say this as a man to another man when you have to say this. Kind of felt sorry for him. It's
Yeah,
sad when you as a man can
yeah.
say through that. Kind of felt sorry for the guy because it's like you don't really got no big time receivers that I know of. Maybe you got a free agent, maybe I don't know, but nobody to write home to mama about. Running back. If you can name the running back, please let me know. Okay, and
That's the thing. I can't name the number one running back, but I can tell you the best wide receiver they have on the team is Adam Thielen
the Adam Thielen, the vet Adam Thielen.
from Minnesota.
He's a great player. Don't get me wrong, and he's decent enough.
But
But
he's
is he
36.
really a number one receiver right now?
He's the number one receiver. But
Is
he's
he really a number one receiver? Is my point though. Is he really a number one? He's the number one because he's the only thing that they got. But
well, they
is
just got
he, when it boils down to it, is he would be considered truly a number one receiver?
they just got the kid this year out of I think he came out of South Carolina as their first overall pick. I don't think the kid had a reception today. I don't
Jeez.
think the kid had a reception today. Everybody gets hung up on these high hopes from these kids getting drafted and everything, but not realizing when they come down, even when they go through preseason, Corey, the game of preseason is totally different than it is week one.
Yeah, that's right.
So even in preseason, when you can run past that cornerback may not make the 53-man roster.
You know
So
what?
so on week one, the cornerback that you have out there, you can't just run past this man.
Mm,
You can't just run past this man. This man that may have not have played any preseason games at all because he's a vet. But guess what?
yep.
He's a vet because he has a reason to be a vet. He's seasoned. He knows the game. He's seen the game. So you coming in as a rookie from South Carolina, speed of the
Nah.
game, Corey.
You
Speed of the
you play
game.
those third stringers in preseason made you feel good about yourself. When the
Exactly.
season actually starts, you playing
Exactly.
the number one corner, okay? And
Exactly.
that number one corner is more than likely a vet, And the
Exactly.
speed of that game, you have to adjust to him being able to just lock you
Exactly.
down. That's what you got to try to get around.
Exactly.
It ain't the same. It ain't.
It's
I
not the
agree with
same.
what you're saying. I
It's
agree
not the
100%
same.
with what you're saying. Okay. This was one that surprised me. It was on the road. And another reason why it surprised me because the winner didn't even score a touchdown. I'm talking about the Steelers at the Falcons game.
Mm.
Um, Justin Fields, I like the Justin Fields over Russell Wilson to be quite honest with you, because I
Mm-hmm.
thought, look, Russell Wilson is a consummate professional. He could be on the bench, letting the guy know about certain stuff or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But it's either the offense that's being called for Justin
Mm-hmm.
Fields to where they're handicapping him and handcuffing him or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
because you gotta let him run a little bit more than that. You can't try to have him as that passer like that
Yeah.
consistently. He's the most dangerous when he's kind of on the move. I remember with those games with the Bears last year, a couple of games. It was like, man, if they could just let this guy kind of go to his strengths, go to
Yeah.
his strengths. And they
Yeah.
just will not. The Bears did not just go consistently, at least go to his strength. And now the Steelers seem like Mike Tomlin, like he had Mason Rudolph in there or some shit this
Man,
today.
you know what?
It's like, what are we doing?
Believe
Go
it or
ahead,
not, I
go ahead.
think Mike Tomlin. I love Mike Tomlin as a head coach. He will go down as one of my best and favorite head coaches that I've seen in the NFL, just because of how long his tenure that he's gone without having a losing season. That alone speaks volume.
Yeah.
However, it's not Mike Tomlin, and he has to hold his coordinators accountable because the game plan I think the Steelers had coming into this game was a game plan for Russell Wilson, not Justin Fields.
It sure looked like it. I agree with that.
Because when you got Justin Fields and Najee Harris in the same backfield, why wouldn't you run more read options or more run pass options? The passes that Justin Fields completed today, you knew they were passes. He dropped that back in a three drop step, five drop step. You knew they were passes. They weren't things that came off the top of his mind like he's a player, that things come off of his mind when it comes down to run pass options. To really maximize his potential, because he's such a dangerous runner, he's not a small quarterback, he's a big
No.
quarterback. So you really got
Yep.
to use his size and his speed to your advantage, especially
Yeah.
when you have a backfield with somebody in it like Najee Harris.
Yes.
You got to use it
It
to your
was
advantage.
disappointing. I must say, it was very disappointing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But I do think he performed a little bit over average.
I agree with that. I'll level with you there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a
I'll
little bit
level with
over
you there.
average. A little bit more than what we expected to see out of Pittsburgh because I think he may have been 16 for 21. He had a couple of drop balls. He had a couple of miscues on the
Yeah.
passing game, but he also completed some big passes that you don't normally see quarterbacks complete in the NFL. So I'm gonna give him that.
You know something I was thinking about? George Pickett had a couple of big catches.
Hmm.
I mean, really
Hmm.
hard catches. I mean, the guy stretched out. He got up for a couple. And I said to myself, if they could really, like you were talking about the read option with Najee Harris in the back,
Hmm.
and somehow or another to where you get it going so well to where people are conscious, they don't know if Najee's getting the ball or if Justin taking off, to where you could maybe add a little play action into it,
Hmm.
to where you open up Pickett downfield.
Hmm.
That could really open up downfield. With Johnson, with Deontay Johnson, the other wide receiver, you
Yes.
could really, in my opinion, with Justin Fields, with his speed, with his ability to be able to keep the defense on their heels,
Hmm.
I just really think Pittsburgh could really have something here. But
I think
it's like you
Pittsburgh
say,
really.
but is Mike Tomlin going to kind of maybe talk to his coordinator or hold him accountable to maybe change things up for Justin Fields? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh really controlled the trenches today, but I wasn't as impressed with Pittsburgh as I was disappointed in Atlanta.
Same,
Because
same.
I felt like Atlanta had a really good team coming into the season, and I felt like that last season they had a really good team. The one thing that they were missing was just an average quarterback. I'm not going to say a superstar. I'm not going to say a top 10 quarterback. They were just missing an average quarterback.
Jim
Kirk
on
Cousins,
Atlanta, right?
yes,
From Ritter. Yeah, from Ritter last year. Oh,
yes.
yeah. Good God. You
Kirk
ain't
Cousins
kidding.
didn't even show me today where he made this team any better.
Nah, I agree. He looked kind of like a deer in headlights, like he's just learning
Yes,
things still. Like you could, that was the feel from
yes.
at home. And he was at home at
At
that.
home, he did nothing to make me say he made them that much better. Now I
So you
can
can
tell you,
imagine the nerves on the road when he goes on the road. I'm just thinking out
but
loud, you know?
you give it a few weeks. Atlanta's only going to deal with this a couple of weeks because they really have a chance to contend with the NFC South division.
Yes. Yes, they do.
They got
Yes,
that
they
kid
do.
on the bench from Washington,
Oh, the boy.
Michael Penix,
Yes. Penix,
who
yes.
they took in the first round, who looked really good, really
Yeah.
good in preseason.
They pay Kirk Cousins a lot of money, though. Money talks, and we know what walks. So sometimes they will kind of give that leash a little long because they know they are paying so much
Yeah,
money for Kirk Cousins. They don't want to be paying Kirk Cousins $25, $30 million to be sitting on the bench. Let's be
yeah,
honest. But if it starts to get to a point, like you said, to touch on your point, if it starts to get to a point where they're 0-5,
yes,
where they're 0-5 or 0-4, they
yes.
might honestly make that move in. They might pull
Are you
that
gonna
cord.
continue to deal with that when you're 0-5, when you can really start predicting your future on your own by bringing in this young kid and letting him develop these other players around you? Because you look at Atlanta, Atlanta's very young. Atlanta's very young. They got Pitt, who's what is this his fourth season in the
Yeah, they
NFL?
got Drake London. I think they got
They
Drake
got
London,
Drake
don't
London.
they?
This is his second season, and then they got
Yeah.
the running back out of Texas,
Robinson.
Rob, and this
Yeah.
is his second season.
Second or third. Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. They're young.
So how much of a chain are you gonna give Kirk Cousins before you let these young boys get in there and do what they're supposed to do?
You know, that's definitely something for us to continue watching for the rest of this season.
Yes.
I'm very interested to see if he has a awful game in the next two games, like just a god awful game,
Mm-hmm.
3, 4 interceptions. Are they going to be thinking about it? Is Raheem Morris going to
Mm-hmm.
say, you know what? I need to think about this because let's be honest, with me being a black coach, my leash is kind of short with them giving me time to kind of stay on the job. If
Man,
I
I
come
think
out and have a 2-12, 2-15 season,
yes.
you know, Arthur Blank, he's not the most stable owner either. He's not the most, consistent owner either. A little bit
Mm-hmm.
better than Jerry Jones, but he's not the most consistent. He'll change up coaches. He'll change up coaches in a minute. I
Yeah,
noticed
he
that in
will.
Atlanta. He
Yeah,
really
he will.
will. It's like, my goodness.
But I really think with Raheem Morris isn't gonna let it slip away like that. He looks at his division. Right now you got Tampa and you got the Saints who won today. And then the
Yep,
other team that you got in your division are the Carolina Panthers. That's a wash.
that's a wash. Yeah,
That's a
that's
wash.
two wins already. You
That's
can
two
mark two
wins
wins.
already.
Each division opponent can mark 2 wins against Carolina.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So you just have to put the best quarterback on the field to beat the New Orleans Saints and to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Derek Carr and Baker Mayfield.
Derek Carr and Baker Mayfield.
And if Kirk Cousins, you mean to tell me if Kirk Cousins is not better than Derek Carr and Baker Mayfield, I don't know what to tell you then.
Well,
I don't know.
at the end of the day, week one, Kirk Cousins wasn't the better of the three.
Oh no. Oh no. Based on who played who, you would have thought Derek Carr was an all-world quarterback. Was just
Man,
like he won a Super Bowl last year or something.
man,
I'm just saying, if you watch
you would
the
think
Panthers Saints
he's a
game,
10-time Pro Bowler.
oh, good. 47 points by him. I was like, man, Carolina ought to be embarrassed. They ought to be
Yeah.
embarrassed. But speaking of being embarrassed, Bills almost got embarrassed. The Buffalo Bills
Oh,
almost got embarrassed at
oh,
home by Kyler Murray. Speaking of a short quarterback,
oh.
thing about Kyler Murray is though, where he has it, I feel like a little bit better than Bryce Young. He can get out of he can escape the pocket like
Mm-hmm.
no other short quarterback I have ever seen. Like
Mm-hmm.
he can escape that pocket and be on a dime. He can change directions on a dime. Like
Yeah.
it's like you see defenders almost like falling over themselves because they can't stop hard enough to hit him on that angle because he just
Yeah.
stopped and just turned. So it's like the way he did what he did today, the way he was flinging that ball.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, Josh Allen might lose this game, and
I
then
actually picked
obviously they came back, and the rest is history.
I actually picked Arizona to beat Buffalo today. And I'm gonna tell you
I
why.
seen that.
With all the newcomers that Buffalo has, it's kind of hard for them to be in sync as one squad with one goal, one mind, and everybody finishing at the finish line together. Buffalo is not going to continue to play like that. Josh Allen can't continue to play like that. A lot of that was on Josh Allen himself.
Yeah, yeah,
He
I
can't he
agree.
can't play the whole season like that. He's in a tough division. You got the Jets, you got Miami, and you got New England who just beat Cincinnati today.
Yeah,
You can't
yeah,
function like that the entire season when your conference is stacked.
yeah.
And you did that against the Cardinals, to where you really had to put the weight of the world on your shoulders in the very first game of the season. That makes for a long season for your boy.
I
Josh
ain't
Allen's
kidding.
gonna have a long season.
34-28, and
34-28.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. They did not secure that win to where they could wipe the sweat until about like a minute left in the game when the
Yeah,
Cardinals didn't convert on a fourth down.
on
They
a
were
fourth
still on
down.
eggshells.
You are
Still,
absolutely right. I actually
it's
thought the
like
Cardinals was gonna win that game up until that play.
I did too.
Up
I
until
did too.
that play.
Now
I thought the Cardinals were gonna win up until that fourth down play. I thought somehow, some way, Kyler Murray was gonna make it happen. Kyler Murray was really, really good throughout the day. And like you said, for him to be a short quarterback, for him to be able to do the things that he's doing in the NFL, he's gonna be okay, and the Cardinals are gonna be okay. Will they win their division? No, they won't. But will Buffalo win their division? No, they won't. Not as long as
I,
they play like that.
I'm not
I
gonna
don't
put
think
my
Josh
money on
Allen
them
will. I don't think Josh Allen will be healthy during the playoffs if they continue to play like that.
because it was all on him today.
It was all on
It
him.
really was.
It was all
I
on him.
mean,
And so many people take Josh Granted for granted. Take Josh Allen for granted and say that he's the most overrated player in the NFL. No, man, that guy's not overrated at all. He
no,
put that he
no.
put that team on his back today and
Yes.
carried them to a victory. In week one, he cannot continue to do that for 17 weeks, Coy.
Oh, absolutely not.
He
Absolutely
cannot
not.
continue to do that.
They got to get that running game going. I don't care how, what way. They got to at least have some type to where he can do the play action. He got to have something to where the defense does not zero in on him so much to where it's like there's always a spy
Yes.
or a couple of spies to where he can't do anything, and then his teammates can't make up for that.
Yes.
It makes for a long season, like you said. It
Yes, because
does.
the thing about it is they're gonna have to outscore teams. Their defense isn't healthy. And the
No.
guys that are healthy are old.
Yeah.
Matt Milano, who's the captain of that defense, is out for the season.
Woo!
So they're gonna have to outscore people. Now, can they continue to outscore people with the production they had other than Josh Allen? I don't know if that's gonna happen.
I don't know either.
I
I ain't
don't know
gonna
if
lie
that's
to
gonna happen.
you. They lost both of their top wide receivers.
Yes.
Both. Stephon
Both.
Diggs. Usually when in off seasons you'll lose your top wide receiver, but the second wide receiver he
Hmm.
gets prepared for the number one spot. Especially a receiver as good as Gabe Davis. It's like,
Yep.
okay, well at least you have a decent enough number one now.
Yeah.
With both of them out,
Yeah.
Matt Collins, these
Yes.
people. I mean, he had a touchdown today, so all the power to him. But is that going to keep up when you play against better teams? You played against the Cardinals, and the Cardinals scored 28 on the road against y'all.
Yeah.
Okay,
And they were up. Was it 17-3 at one point?
17. Yep, they were up 10-0. Then they were up 17-10 against them. And I
In
said to
Buffalo.
myself, imagine when they play the Ravens. Imagine,
Yes.
like you said, the Dolphins. Like,
Yes.
that's just in the AFC. That's
Yes.
just in the AFC. When you play interconference, when you play against NFC teams that have got some powerhouses like the Niners, like the Lions, like the Cowboys. Woo! Well, when you get those games thrown in your season as well,
Mhm.
makes the season really long. Again, to your point,
I don't
absolutely
know how
great point.
successful Buffalo's going to be this year. I don't know how
I think they
successful they're going to
may
be.
get the seventh spot if you ask me early season right now. If at
Mm,
best, in my opinion,
yeah,
seventh
but
spot.
you got to think if the Jets are anything like we expect the Jets to be, you still got the Dolphins in that division. If the
Yeah,
Jets are
I
anything like
said
we
three
expect the
teams.
Jets to be with a healthy Aaron Rodgers, Buffalo's in trouble. Buffalo's in trouble.
If the AFC, I don't think the AFC East is going to produce three playoff teams. If
No,
any division is going to produce
no,
three playoff teams, it's the AFC North. That's the only
I agree.
division, in my opinion,
I
that would
agree.
produce three
I
NFL
agree.
playoff teams.
I agree.
No doubt
I
in my mind.
totally agree. I totally
Two at
agree.
the most from the AFC East. Two at the most, in my opinion. And if, like
Yeah,
you said, with the Jets being possibly with Aaron Rodgers being healthy this year, I mean the defense is stout. The Jets
yes,
stout. Okay, I
yes,
remember that last year. Even though their losses were not the cause of their defense. Yeah, folks say,
no,
well, the defense gave up points. But if you seen what you seen in their defense, no man. If you got a decent enough quarterback that can score some points when they're on offense
yeah,
or whatnot, then that defense has more energy to keep up the defense, keep it going good, keep it strong, keep it. But if you on offense and your quarterback's stuck constantly fumbling the ball, throwing picks, it kind
yeah,
of decreases the morale a little bit as a defense.
yeah.
I would assume so.
And don't
Man,
forget, not only was Aaron Rodgers hurt last year, but Bryce Hall was hurt for a large portion of the year. So
absolutely.
now you got your starting
Yep.
quarterback back and you got your running game back. And the Jets,
And you got Garrett Wilson out there.
exactly. And the
Yep,
Jets
you got
have a
Garrett
dominant
Wilson. Yep.
offensive line. They're dominant in the
Yes.
trenches. They just got to put it together.
Yes.
So me thinking Buffalo is a playoff team after what I've seen today, oh nah.
I give him the seventh seed only because of Josh Allen. I'll just be honest with you. I give him the seventh seed only because of Josh Allen.
Yeah,
Because
if he
I don't know
continues
if
out there,
Aaron Rodgers is going to stay healthy the whole season. I
yeah, I
just don't
agree.
know at 40 something.
But if Buffalo continues to play like they played today, neither will Josh Allen.
I they got to tighten it up. We'll agree
Yeah,
there. We're definitely in agreement there.
yeah, he
Um,
won't be healthy all season either.
moving on to something that kind of disappointed me because I've been pulling for this guy. I just been a big proponent of him. I loved him last year. Thought he should have definitely got the head coaching spot from being the interim coach, and that is Antonio Pierce, obviously former
Oh,
Super Bowl champion with the New York Giants. Um, but he's still an early in his coaching career, and it was 7 minutes left in the game. He was on, I believe, about the 45-yard line of the Chargers, 4th and 1, and he punted the ball. Now, some
mhm.
folks say, well, he's just trusting in his defense. If your defense is not a top 10 defense, especially
Mhm.
let's say last year was not a top 10 defense,
Mhm.
you can't be believing in your defense like that. It's not that you don't believe in the man. It's not like you don't have
Mhm.
necessarily confidence in him like that. But you play, in the immortal words of Herman Edwards, to win the game.
To win the
And when
game.
you are on the road and you got 7 minutes left and you don't have a top defense,
Yeah.
and you're going against, and also to be fair, you're not going against a slouch quarterback. You're not,
Yeah.
Justin Herbert is not a slouch. I'm sorry, he's not the
No.
greatest. He's not the top five, but he damn sure ain't the bottom five.
You're
That's for
absolutely right
sure.
about that. You're
So
absolutely
I
right
mean,
about that.
when you say I'm gonna put my defense, I'm gonna put all my marbles on my defense to get this ball back with no scores because you couldn't even give up a field goal at that time because then that would make it a
Yeah.
two-possession game. But
Yes.
you trusted your defense, and I have to say this is questionable. You trusted your defense to be able to withhold Justin Herbert from scoring at least a field goal. I, I'm sorry. Yeah, you pinned them deep. Yeah, you pinned them deep, but you had some bonehead penalties along the way and some
Yeah.
blown coverages along the way. And that's the way you end up to where now they're in field goal range. And now
Mhm.
it's all gone. It's all over but the shouting. I mean,
Yeah.
it's over with. And I must say, it was very disappointing and very questionable. What did you think about his coaching decisions today?
Back when I was coaching, even on the youth football level, I had a coach to do everything. I had a coach to even hype the team up when they needed to be hyped up, to be that rah rah, that cheerleader
Yeah,
guy to get them in their face and get the
yeah,
best out of everybody, get them hyped up. Antonio Pierce is one of those type of coaches to me.
yes.
As much as I hate to say it because I love what he did last season, I love how he turned the season around for them guys. He's one of those rah rah, every guy, all 52 men love him.
Mm,
But they love him because of his personality, not because he gets the best out of them, and not because he has the best scheme going into the
mm,
game, not because he has the best defense going into the game, the offensive scheme. None of that. They love him because he's a great guy. So Antonio Pierce is really going to have to, as much as I hate to say it, you really got to turn into the bad guy sometimes
mm,
to get guys to turn it up a notch. Right now,
mm.
everybody loves him. So it's kind of hard for them to turn it up a notch when they love him. Guys turn it up a notch when you challenge them, when you make them feel uncomfortable, when you make them feel threatened. He's not that kind of coach that's going to do that to me. He's not that kind of coach that's going to make
Light
them
a
feel
fire under
threatened.
their butt.
Nah, he's that rah
Mm,
rah, let's go get him guy. And that rah rah, let's go
mm,
get him guy don't win games in the NFL.
mm,
That rah
mm.
rah, that rah rah, let's go get him guy serves his purpose in the locker room. He's the rah rah, let's go get him guy. But
He's not the head coach, is what you're saying.
no, man, I don't think he learned from enough great coaches along the way to be a great coach yet. Some guys get it naturally. I don't think
Mm,
Antonio Pierce is one of those guys that got it naturally. Mike Tomlin got it naturally.
yeah, that's
He's
true.
a natural head coach. Antonio Pierce isn't one of those guys that it comes natural. Even at the end of the season where we've seen the Raiders actually play very, very well going down,
Yeah.
those guys were playing off of heart and hustle. They weren't playing off of knowledge. They weren't playing
Mhm.
because they were in the best positions at the right time. These guys were playing off of heart and hustle then. And I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna run through a brick wall for my head coach Antonio Pierce, who has my back. But when it comes down to a 17 game season and you have to prepare these guys on a weekly basis, I don't know if he's capable of doing that.
Man, you know what? I gotta say this because I like the guy.
Hmm.
Because I like the guy. I hope you're wrong,
So do I.
but
So do I.
but but unfortunately, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Honestly, you know, I got to be honest when I'm watching. You know, at that fight that they had after
Hmm.
that one play,
Hmm.
like with the Raiders players and the Chargers, like
Yeah.
that's discipline. That's
Yes.
discipline right there. Come on now.
Yes.
If you know that your coach is not going to cut your behind after behaving like that, you are not
Yes.
going to behave like that. I
If
don't
I
care.
were
You say what you
taking,
want to about Bill Belichick,
yeah,
but
there you go.
you knew if you behave like that and causing penalties and causing ejections to where now you ain't gonna be able to contribute to a win possibly for us.
Yes.
No, you're gone. Sorry, you're gone.
If I were hiring a head football coach to take my 52 man roster, 53-man roster into a bar and win that bar fight, Antonio Pierce would be the coach that I selected to do that. But if I'm hiring a coach to come out and steal these 53 men that I got that I'm paying millions of dollars for to win a football game,
Ooh, ooh,
mm,
ooh.
I don't know if
Man,
I'm
boy,
going to
when
do
you
that.
put it like that make it crystal clear. The
Yeah, I
the
don't know if I'm
analogy
going
for
to do
that.
that. I don't know if I'm going to do that. He's going to get them all amped up to go in there and win that bar fight. But can he not only teach them, coach them into winning a football game
And have them be able to keep their emotions in check.
and keep their
It is
emotions
a
in
certain
check?
sense of control you need to have in order to be able to
Exactly.
win in football as well.
Yes.
If you're a hothead and your coach knows you're a hothead, but your
Hmm.
coach is not able to get you in check, even with you being a hothead,
Yep.
like Akeem Talib was a hothead.
Yes.
Okay, he was,
Yeah.
but he had coaches when he was really good in order to be able to get him in control enough to be
Yes.
able to channel that in the right
Yes.
direction.
Yes. I
But
don't know if Antonio Pierce can do that to a guy like Talib. He couldn't do
yeah,
that.
you know, I, I got to level with you there. I got to agree. Even though I love AP, I must agree. I must agree. Moving on to where we had touched on earlier. Just got these notes. Texas might be on their way, except for that defense. Okay, especially that secondary. Okay, except for Stingley Jr., number 22. That except for him, I'm just going by what I seen, the eye test, what I seen with my own two eyes.
Hmm.
I was not impressed with that defense at all. Even though you had the defensive rookie of the year, and they were
Yeah.
getting pressure. I've seen the clip. They were getting pressure on Richardson a little bit.
Hmm.
But that back end,
Hmm.
if you don't got no dogs on that back end,
Yeah.
it don't mean the hill of bean how well your starting quarterback, running back, wide receiver, Diggs, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Joe Mixon, idiot Bengals letting him go. Oh my goodness, such idiots letting him
Man.
go. My
Man.
150 yards. Did he have 150 yards today?
Yes. But you know what? He's joining a totally different offense, man. And let me tell you, to the Bengals, I don't think you let a guy like that walk, especially with what you got coming behind him. You don't let a guy like that walk. But the Texans are gonna be okay. I'm gonna tell you why. They're still young on the defensive side. They got a lockdown corner on one side. They need
Stingley.
one safety. Yes. They need one safety to step
Yes,
up and be that guy. And to take the bull by the horns and say, I'm that dog, and y'all can ride with me. One safety.
absolutely.
Because their front seven is decent. They got Stingley on the other
Yes,
side. That's a lockdown corner. You need one safety. One
to
safety to
shore
step
up
up and make a
that
difference.
to shore up that secondary.
Yes. You need one
Yeah,
safety to make step up and make a difference. But I also don't take it against Indianapolis. I think Indianapolis is going to be a sleeper this year. I think they're going to do a lot better than what people think they are. Now, do I think
yeah,
they're going to
yeah.
win the division? No. But when it comes to the AFC South, I can see the AFC South getting two teams into the playoffs. And I don't know if
It's
that's going
definitely
to be
going to be
Houston and
competitive.
Jacksonville. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be Houston and Jacksonville. I don't know if that's going to be the Texans and Tennessee. But I can see the AFC South putting two teams in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So
I
time
agree
will tell.
wholeheartedly.
I think Indianapolis is a much better team than we think they are, and we give them credit
Oh
to
yeah,
be. Because you
oh yeah,
think all last year they played with a backup quarterback all last year, and they were still
yeah,
one
they
game away
did.
from making it to the playoffs. The last game of the season from making it to the playoffs.
Yep. And they
They're gonna
had
be
Gardner
okay.
Minshew. They had Gardner
Exactly.
Minshew for the majority of the year, and look what he did for the Raiders today. I
Exactly.
mean, it's kind of very disappointing,
Very.
to say the least. So
Yeah.
you know what? To be fair to that point that you just made with the Colts, I have to agree with that because Richardson. I seen some clips of Richardson. He
Hmm.
has some shades of greatness. I seen some
Hmm.
shades of getting out of the pocket, boom, catching a guy all the way downfield on a line.
Corey, have you ever seen anybody in NFL throw a pass like that after escaping a sack that far in the air?
That's why I was impressed. I
80
seen
yards,
that
80 yards in the air. And I mean, he hit him on the rope. I mean,
on
right
the
there
line, on the line, on
on,
a
on
line.
a line.
Okay, I
Man,
was.
the Colts are going to be okay. That kid is impressive.
Yeah, I agree. And they don't have a too shabby running back. Jonathan Taylor looked pretty good today. Getting into
Yeah,
the end zone, he looked pretty
yeah.
good. They got an actual running back. Let's just be honest too. They do got an actual running back in Indianapolis as well.
Yeah, and he's only going to get better because the offensive line is pretty good as well. They got one of the top
Yes.
guards in the NFL that they just
Yes.
paid last year. Their offensive line is
Yes.
going to be okay. The Colts are going to be a problem.
Yes. No, pretty decent line. What I worry about in the AFC South is the Titans not having a consistent line, not having a
Yeah,
consistent quarterback. So I think the
yeah,
Titans are going to be maybe one of the odd people out. But I
yeah.
definitely think that the Jaguars, the scare they gave the Dolphins, the Colts from the scare that they gave the Texans, and obviously, in my opinion, the Texans was the cream of the crop of that division, in my humble opinion. But I think that all through it will be very competitive. But I do think Houston and Jacksonville
Hmm.
ultimately will get playoff first. But like you said, I think the Colts are a sleeper to possibly challenge Jacksonville for that second spot in the
So
AFC
do I.
South for playoff
So
berth.
do I.
I
I
truly do.
agree.
It ain't gonna be no easy. It ain't gonna be no easy playoff berth for the Jaguars, especially if the Texans get the division crown. It will
Yep,
not be. I
I agree
completely
with that.
agree with you there. Last but not least, one of the last games before the night game finished up. Baker Mayfield. Uh, he had nearly 300 yards passing. I believe 289 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, two to Mike Evans, one to Chris Godwin. I believe another one. I can't remember who else, but he had 4 touchdowns. He got paid $100 million. Well, he got $100 million contract in the offseason. And a lot of people say, "Oh, well, that ain't too much." He didn't even get that much. Yeah, but for Baker Mayfield, I think it was him having a contract, him having some consistency. He's not
Hmm.
moving to a new team. I think his
Hmm.
confidence is up, that the
Hmm.
organization believes in him, that he's not going to get pulled or have such a short leash to pull him
Hmm.
out of a game. And it showed today to me. It showed. He was showing a little Baker, had a little Baker magic. Yeah, he had a few throws that was like, darn, Baker, he should have looked around this way, or maybe. But for the
Hmm.
most part, I
Hmm.
was like, Baker Mayfield looks comfortable. He has a pretty decent line as well. Let's be honest. In Tampa,
Yes,
pretty decent. I mean,
yes,
Tom Brady had that line for the first year he got a Super
yes,
Bowl. The second year that line was a little banged up. They got to the championship game.
yes.
Now they're back healthy. Okay, they look pretty good for the worst. That offensive lineman worst number
Hmm.
72, 73 for the Bucks. That,
Yes.
that's somebody that I respect right there. That dude push people out the way. He
Yeah,
pushed
you're talking
people
about
back.
he's number 76. Tristan
76.
Tristan.
Work.
Tristan
Yeah,
Work.
work.
He's one of the best
Yes,
he's one of the top 5 offensive linemen in the league.
I
Now,
can agree with that.
speaking on Baker
Based on what
Mayfield,
I seen today, I can agree with that.
Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to win the NFC South. You heard it here first. They're going to win the NFC South because not only is it Baker Mayfield, look at Mike Evans.
Ageless. Ageless.
Ageless. Ageless. Mike Evans showed up in the time that he had to show up. Baker Mayfield made plays, extended plays when he had to extend them. They had the running game going, and not only that, but they played solid defense.
Yes.
Solid, and yeah, they were playing against a rookie quarterback that's a part of a team that was horrible last year. But I do think Washington is going to be pretty good. They'll be a 500 team this year, a little bit above
You know what?
500.
I like Jaden Daniels.
So do I.
He got to keep his helmet on a little tighter. I know
Yeah.
he's young, and I know he came from college, and they barely had the helmets on and crap. But in the
Yeah.
NFL, you need to have your darn helmet on, especially if you're going down towards the goal line trying to stretch the ball out and stuff, and some linebacker just rips your helmet off because you ain't really got it on. We got to
Facts.
do better there. Okay,
Yes.
we got to do better. But I also like how he's not taking those shots like RG3 did. He's not
Mm-hmm.
taking those shots like Cam Newton did. He's
Mm-hmm.
not. He's running and he's getting around and but he's taking. Yeah, he don't know how to slide, so he's doing his little tumble, little giving up little thing just right before the defender. But he's not
Mm-hmm.
taking those hits. That's what I like seeing with him, and he'll
He's a
grow. I really believe, unlike Caleb Williams, unfortunately, I believe Jaden Daniels with the Commanders. I believe he has the potential to truly grow in with Cliff Kingsbury
mm-hmm,
as his OC.
mm-hmm,
He is offensive minded. He's about
mm-hmm,
getting that ball downfield. I think
mm-hmm.
it will grow and grow. And once that offensive line is getting more in
Yeah,
sync with the quarterback and the calls and all that, I just truly believe that the Commanders will at least be respectable to at least a 500, not playoffs, but at least
yeah.
respectable. What do you think?
I agree with that. Only time will tell what Cliff Kingsbury is going to do with Jaden Daniels. I think the mind and the athlete go hand in hand. And when I
Yes.
compare those two together, it's just a matter of time. Because you look at the
Right.
second half of the game, they really didn't have a problem moving the ball. They had a problem finishing.
Yes, I watched that.
They,
Yes,
they
I
had a
seen
problem
that.
finishing. They didn't have a problem moving the ball. So now they're going to take back what they did well this week and
Hmm.
build on that. And in building on that, like you just said, I don't think they're going to be a playoff team, but they are definitely going to make some noise down the road. When it comes into next season, they're definitely going to make some bigger noise because now you got a second year with Cliff Kingsbury and Jaden Daniels together. This year, they're going to establish a relationship with each other. And
Hmm.
their relationships are going to go stronger and stronger and stronger as the season goes. They're going to be good together.
Yeah, no, what I like is I like when a defensive head coach hires a true, like, really like offensively minded offensive coordinator to really care
Hmm.
about just that side of the ball. That way
Yes,
he can just really kind of worry about the defensive side of the ball. I like that. You know what I mean?
yes.
Cliff Kingsbury is that OC that's not like a moderate OC. He is a aggressive. For the
Hmm.
most part, he's going to try to get that ball down the field, and I can respect that to the umpteenth degree. So that's
Hmm.
why I can take two takeaways from this game. Baker Mayfield was worth every single penny in the offseason,
Definitely,
that $100 million
definitely.
contract. And I do believe that Jayden Daniels is going to be a lot better with Cliff Kingsbury, his OC, than a lot of people think. I'm
Man, I
agreeing
totally
with
agree with you. I
you.
totally agree with
Absolutely.
you. But you
All
know
right,
what, man?
so go
One
ahead.
thing that
Go
we're
ahead.
missing, we're both missing a great game going on right here. This game is going into overtime on Sunday Night Football.
I just seen that. I just seen the
20-20.
toss and whatnot.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
no,
man,
on this game right here. I'm sorry, I'm a big Lions fan. When it comes to, I just love Dan Campbell. I play
so
for
do
Dan
I.
Campbell every day. I know he's one of those rah rah coaches, but he also is like an emotional coach. He
Yeah.
he he gets people to invest because you play for a coach hard like that when they not only are rah rah and let's get them, go get them, but they seem like they really give a damn about you, the
Yes.
person.
Yes.
You will do more than what you think you are capable of with a
Yes.
guy like that behind you.
Dan
And
Campbell is
that's
one of
why
those
I love
coaches.
Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell is one of those coaches, what I call a brick wall coach. And the reason why I say a brick wall coach, because he can get anybody on that 53-man roster to run through a brick wall for him, just by telling them that they can do it. He's one of those brick wall coaches. And Detroit's going to be a problem for years to come
I
because of
agree.
Dan Campbell.
I
Because of Dan
agree.
Campbell.
He's changed
Guys
the
love,
culture there.
yes, and guys love to play for a guy that they know will run through the same brick wall that he's asking them to run through.
Yes.
Guys love to
Yes.
play for a guy like that. And he's a little bit different than Antonio Pierce because I call Antonio Pierce a brick wall coach as well because he can probably motivate anybody to run through a brick wall for him. But can he teach them that they can run through that brick wall and make them and be successful once they get on the other line, on the other side?
Mm.
It's a difference between running through that brick wall and just running through it just to run through it. But it's a difference to run through that brick wall with a purpose, to have something established for you on the other end. Dan Campbell is that coach that has something established for you on the other end. You get through this brick wall, we win the Super Bowl. Antonio
Mm.
Pierce, you get through this brick wall, we're going to figure out what we're going to do once we get on the other side.
Uh, big difference.
Big difference.
I see what you're saying there.
Big
Big
difference.
difference.
Big
Yeah.
difference. Huge difference.
And I'm glad you touched on that because I did think you were gonna possibly group Dan Campbell. Just to be fair, just to be full disclosure, I did think you were going to possibly group Dan Campbell along with Antonio Pierce, but I'm glad you were able to decipher and really explain the differences because there is a slight difference. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? There is a slight difference in a coach, like where Dan, how he is. The every time you hear a Detroit Lions player interview and they talk about Dan Campbell,
Mhm.
you know, it's not only about the X's and O's. It's about how this guy is to us. It's about how this guy has changed the culture of us actually like really winning. It's
Mhm.
not just run through that and we'll figure out the rest on the other side. It's no,
Yeah.
no. This is why you guys are running through this brick wall. This is why we're changing the culture.
Yes.
This is why we're doing this. That
Yes.
matters to NFL players that are making millions of dollars a year.
Yes.
That freaking matters. And it's
Yes.
showing. The Lions went from the dumpster fire of the league to this guy slowly but surely. He thought he was going to get fired. Second season, halfway through his second season in, because it wasn't,
Yep.
you know. But then they ended up doing good by the end of the season, knocking the Aaron Rodgers and the Packers out of the playoffs that year at the
Yep.
end of the season, last game of the season. And then the
Yep.
next year you go to the championship game.
Yes.
Yeah, you changed the culture. You
Yes.
really have changed the culture there.
And not
So
only that, but
props to him.
he resurrected Jared Goff's career.
Oh my goodness, didn't he?
Everybody thought Jared Goff got sent to Detroit just to perish, just to be wasted
Yeah.
away.
Oh, I ain't gonna lie. I did. I
So
was
did
like,
I.
wow, the Rams did. I was like, man, Sean McVay did Josh Goff so dirty. Took him to his first Super Bowl, and Sean McVay said, "Yeah, can I get Stafford? Yeah, can I get Stafford? Yeah, 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 straight up trade. Yeah,
Yeah.
can we do this right here? Can we
Yes.
do this number right here?" And don't get me wrong, Sean McVay was doing that. He got his Super Bowl. Stafford
Yeah.
took him to the Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl. Don't get me wrong, they played against the Bengals, and I don't see why they couldn't stop Aaron Donald on that. I mean, it's just like they could not stop. Speaking of the Bengals offensive line, just touch on it briefly. They could not stop them, and Aaron Donald just reigned supreme on that Bengals offensive line. So I
And
can
they still
see, you know,
and they still
that
have the
is what
same
happened in
issues.
that Super Bowl.
And the Bengals still have the same issues.
Yep, from 3 years ago Super Bowl, and they still have the same issue. That should
Same
let
issue.
you know how great Joe Burrow was that year when they
Yep.
got to the Super Bowl. Because that
Yes.
O line in that Super Bowl, that O line reared its ugly head, boy. That's the
Yes.
only thing I can say. I was in
Yes.
shock how bad they showed up. You know what
Yep.
I
And they
mean?
still have
But
the same issues.
yep. So to your point, Stafford did he did give McVay what he wanted, but look what Goff is doing to the culture in Detroit.
Yeah.
So hey, you know what? I guess it was a good trade all the way around, in my opinion. Because
Yeah.
one
It
team
worked
got
out
what
for
they
everyone.
wanted, you know. Just saying. All right,
Yeah.
moving forward to week two. Of these teams that we mentioned, the Bears comeback win, Patriots upset, Dolphins rally from behind, Cowboys roll, Pittsburgh wins with no touchdowns on the
No
road.
touchdowns.
Texans win on the road. Baker Mayfield, and the Bucks. These teams I just mentioned, I think we'll be able to keep that momentum going. I know it depends on who they're playing and all that, but excuse me, but based on what you've seen, who do you think has clear momentum to possibly get on a winning streak here?
The Houston Texans.
I agree.
The Houston
Again.
Texans. The Houston Texans. They are serious. And D'Amico Ryan is going to be one of the top picks for NFL Coach of the Year. He'll make it in the top three NFL Coach of the Year. They're going to make it to the playoffs. They're going to make a deep push into the playoffs. And believe it or not, they are the team that I think can challenge the Kansas City Chiefs for the AFC Championship this year. The Houston Texans.
And guys, for all my subscribers out there and everybody watching, this is a diehard Kansas City Chiefs player. Excuse me, fan. Diehard. Okay, this is not no fair weather Kansas City Chief fan. So if he's speaking on that and saying that the team that is more likely to possibly even challenge the Chiefs so they don't three-peat,
Mm-hmm.
that speaks volumes to me. And that's why I
It'll
say
be
this
the
guy
Houston
has
Texans.
credibility. This guy, my guy, big dog Todd Peterson. Because I mean, geez, I mean, when you make a statement like that,
Yeah,
I think you are putting Houston on a pretty big pedestal. I give you credit for that because your team is definitely at the tippy top. They're definitely at
yeah,
the upper echelon. They're definitely in their
yeah.
bag, so to speak. So I'm very interested to see that, man. Hey,
I'm just waiting
listen.
for the Houston Texans just to. They need one more defensive back to step it up because when you think about it, they got the defensive rookie of the year in the front seven from last season. You got Stingley, who's a shutdown corner. You need one more defensive back to step up, and then you can really compare them to the Kansas City Chiefs as far as defense goes, because the Kansas City Chiefs has one dominant defensive lineman in Chris Jones. We have a very good linebacker core. So Chris Jones being up front and our linebackers making our front seven a lot better, but we also have a shutdown corner on the other side as well, and Trent
Yeah,
McDuffie.
I will say this. I'm very interested to see as the season grows on with Kansas City in their secondary, their back end. They did lose L'Jarius Sneed. He is an all-world defensive back. Let's be honest. He was definitely part of the reason why y'all went back to back on the defensive side of the ball with the Chiefs winning the Super Bowls. I can definitely say that McDuffie and him was a great tandem. 1-2,
Yes.
because if you tried to go at Legarius and you left and you had McDuffie on the other end, it was kind of pick your poison because they
Yeah.
both were great cover corners. Both were.
I think
Now,
what made Sneed such a great corner was his size.
yeah, he was a big corner.
He's a big
He was
corner.
big.
But now
Yes.
but now when you look at the Chiefs, the two guys that replace him, because we're sharing time with two guys, those
Oh, okay.
both of those guys are just as big as Sneed was. Joshua
Oh,
Williams was a 6'2", 210-pound corner who's really, really good. So as you saw in the game on Thursday night, not saying we're not missing much in Sneed because Sneed was, I put him in the top 10 as far as cornerbacks go in the league. He's top 10 because not
I
only is he
would.
going to cover, but he's going to come up and make that tackle. But
Absolutely.
compared to what we gained in salary cap as compared to what we lost, I'll take that deal all day.
Mm.
Yeah, I'll take that deal all
Okay.
day.
Okay.
Especially
Well,
considering who we had coming behind him. His size made up for a lot of his ability. Not don't get me wrong, his ability he was really really good. I think the guy was Ladarius Sneed was really really good, but I think he was so good because of his size. His size contributed to that because even
I
if you
will
look at the
say
Miami
this.
game of last year in the playoffs, the way he manhandled Tariq Hill is because of his size.
Yeah, I think I couldn't agree with that. But I will say this that when you say about the Texans, they are definitely going to have to get a better defensive back, or hopefully one of the defensive back steps up because the Chiefs receiving core
Yes,
after Stingley, okay, if you put Rasheed Rice on Stingley, you have Stingley cover Rasheed Rice.
you can't
You
do
got
that.
that speed guy. You got that other dude. I mean, if he's just being single covered, it's gonna be an all day affair. Even
You
though how
can't.
good the Texans are on offense, defensively, that's gonna be a headache, man. I just thought about that.
But that's why I say you can't. They need another defensive back to step up because for one thing, you can't put Stingley on the inside on a slot receiver.
No, no,
You
absolutely
need
not.
your nickel back to step up, or you need a safety that's going to step up and be able
Either
to defend
or.
that slot. If not, they're going to be milked apart in that slot position.
Mm-hmm.
And Rashay Rice
Yeah.
plays the slot for us 9 times out of 10 plays.
Ooh,
He's a big slot
ooh.
receiver,
Yeah, he is.
but that's
Yes,
where
he
he plays most of
is.
the time in the slot.
Oh man, this was a good first episode with you there, Todd.
And I appreciate it,
Hey
man.
guys, This. Hey guys, I'm gonna be wrapping this up today. Coy Sports Corner. We have been live all this time, and this is obviously Big Dog Todd Peterson, former University of Nebraska offensive lineman. Obviously played big collegiate football in the Big 12, University of Nebraska. So again, this guy, when he's talking at any fan functions, I am listening. Sorry for the little playback there, people. If you guys hearing a little echo, I do apologize. Let me see if I can adjust it. Do apologize for that, but we're gonna do more of these. I'm gonna be trying to do this, guys, every Sunday. If it is not with Big Dog Todd Peterson, it will obviously be with Ty Kirby. Try to have it rotating, and maybe sometimes have both of them on the same day at different times to give different insight on what they see. But hey, listen, Big Dog Todd Peterson, it's been a pleasure. Appreciate your
Likewise,
knowledge.
boy.
Appreciate your
Likewise.
insight. Appreciate your time.
No
I'm
problem, man.
so serious with this, man. I appreciate you so much for that, bro. All
No
right.
problem.
We are signing off, guys, here at Coy Sports Corner. It was fun, and we will get back on this at another time, preferably next Sunday night. You guys take care and take care of yourself.
All right. Peace, everybody.
Take care.
All right.